Hello everyone, this is Daniel from CA Learning. On this video, we are going to speak about the regular verbs pronunciation rules. Pretty much that means that whenever we have verbs in simple past which are regular, they have different pronunciation. So this is mostly what we are going to discuss about on this video. We won't speak about spelling because we already have a video. I'm going to leave you the link in the corner of the screen so you can check it later. So no more to say, let's get started. As we could see in previous videos, regular verbs are the verbs that play by the rules. That means that whenever you want to form the simple past or the past participle, all we have to do is add ed, ed or ied to the base form of the verb to create the past tense form or the past participle. So on this video, we won't talk about the spelling rules. As I mentioned already, there is a video for that. And on this video, we will focus on the pronunciation so you can sound like a pro. Let's talk about regular verbs pronunciation rules. Right here we have three verbs. We have them in the base form and in the simple past. So let's check. We have the verb play, laugh, and want. So in the simple past form, all of them finish in ed, right? But the pronunciation is different. We have play. In this case, the pronunciation in the past is played. Played. As you can hear, the pronunciation is a D sound. In the case of laugh, the pronunciation in the past is going to be laughed. Laughed. At the end, you have a T sound. And finally, in the case of the verb want, the pronunciation in the past is going to be wanted. Wanted. In the case of this last verb, the pronunciation changes, and besides, we add an additional syllable. It used to be want, one syllable, and it's going to be wanted, two syllables. But here is the question: why these verbs sound different if they have the same ending? So this is pretty much what we are going to learn on this video. So pretty much depending on the final sound in the base form, this ed is going to be pronounced differently. It could be pronounced d or d sound, it could be pronounced t or t sound, or it can be pronounced id, additional syllable. We are going to talk in detail about in which scenarios these rules are implemented. As you can see, the ed at the end of regular verbs can be pronounced in three different ways. It can be pronounced like d, it can be pronounced like t, or it can be pronounced like id. So how do we know this? Alright, so there is a way for us to know when to pronounce in the different ways, and it has to do with vibration of the sounds. So for this purpose, we need to understand what are voice sounds. Voice sounds occur when the vocal cords vibrate. The vocal cords are located on the throat. So to feel this vibration, we need to place our hands on our throat and say the sound we want to check for vibration. If you feel vibration, it indicates that the sound is voiced. Right here we have some examples of sounds, not the letters themselves, but the sounds they produce that have vibration. So let's do an exercise. Let's place our hands on our neck and let's pronounce the sound ah. So in that case, you will notice that you feel on your fingertips some vibration that clearly indicates that the sound is voiced. Other concepts that we need to be familiar with when pronouncing the regular verbs in the past is voiceless sound. So when producing voiceless sounds, the vocal cords do not vibrate. The sounds are produced just by pushing air through the mouth without any vibration in the throat. So here we can do the same exercise. You can place your hands on your throat and pronounce the sound, and you will see that they do not have vibration. Here we have some sounds, not all of them, that are voiceless. For example, when we pronounce the sound F, what we can do is to put your hand on the throat and pronounce it. So this sound does not produce vibration. It's simply produced by pushing air through the mouth or through the throat, and does not produce any vibration on the throat. Alright, so other example can be the letter S. When pronouncing this sound, we do not produce vibration, or the vocal cords do not produce any vibration, which means that this is a voiceless sound. So it is important to understand this. Voiced sounds produce vibration, while voiceless sounds do not produce vibration. You will see how useful this is for the rules that are coming. After discussing the concepts of voiceless sounds and voiced sounds, we are going to speak how we will use them to pronounce the verbs correctly. Right here we have some examples of verbs that finish in the base form with a voiced sound, a voice sound. That means that the sound produces vibration when being pronounced. So we have in the base form call, love, listen, grab, beg, blame, close, and change. All these sounds, all these verbs have a voiced sound at the end of the base form. Therefore, that means that the pronunciation in the simple past is going to be D. The ED at the end is going to be pronounced like a D. So the result is going to be called, loved, listened, grabbed, begged, blamed, closed, changed. So the pronunciation of the ED sound depends on the sound at the end of the base form. Due to the fact these verbs have a voiced sound at the end, the ED is going to be pronounced D. On the other hand, we have the verbs that finish with a voiceless sound. We will pronounce T when the verb ends in a voiceless sound. So, we have the base form of some verbs right here, which final sound is voiceless. We have the verb wash, watch, laugh, cook, walk, dress, fix, and help. None of these final sounds of the verbs we just read have vibrations. In other words, they are voiceless. Therefore, the ED at the end of these verbs is going to be pronounced T. So the result is washed, watched, laughed, cooked, walked, dressed, fixed, helped. So, due to the fact the final sound of these verbs does not have vibration or is voiceless, so we will place T in the pronunciation at the end of these verbs. Now we have rule number 3. We know that whenever the verb finishes in a voiced sound, the pronunciation is going to be D at the sound. And we also know when the verb finishes in a voiceless sound, the pronunciation is going to be a voiceless sound as well, which is T, right, that T sound. But now, what happens when the verbs already finishes with D sound or with T sound? There we are going to make a small change. The pronunciation of the ED is going to be ed. So in the cases of the verb add, act, accept, repeat, wait, respond, want, or decide, all of them finish with either T or D, so it is not possible to add an additional T or D sound. That would be strange. So what do we do in this case? Alright, what we do is pronouncing this ED like an additional syllable. So the result is going to be added, acted, accepted, repeated, waited, responded, wanted, decided. So it is going to be now, instead of one syllable, it's going to be two syllables. Or if it was two syllables, it's going to be three syllables. So that is what happens when the verb already finishes in D or T sound. So let's wrap it up. We pronounce D when the verb ends with a voiced sound. We pronounce T when the verb ends with a voiceless sound. And we pronounce id when the verb ends with a T or D sound. This is pretty much all we discussed during this video. Now this is your moment to shine. Right here we have a bunch of verbs in the simple past. All of them, of course, are regular verbs. What I want you to do is to check the verbs, check the final sound before the ed, and tell me if the pronunciation is T, D, or it. So you can pause the video for 1 or 2 minutes, you can check each sound in detail, and after that I want you to indicate or write next to each verb if it should be pronounced with T, D, or it. I will give you some time, just pause the video and see you in a couple of minutes. Alright, time's up. This is the answer key and here I leave you the answers. I hope you did a great job. Remember, all you have to do is to pay attention to the final sound of the verbs in the base form, and depending on the final sound, if it has vibration or is voiced, you pronounce D. If it is voiceless, you pronounce T. And if it finishes in T or D, you pronounce it at the end. Okay, ladies and gents, this is it for today. Thank you so much for your attention. Remember, if you like this content or if you want to learn more about English pronunciation, or idioms, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for your time and see you in a future video. Bye-bye.